Hello, 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 everybody. How's it going? Whew. We're here. It's the finale of Summertime Rendering. Well, in my brain, Summertime Rendering ended last week. Whatever we get after this, if it's good, it's a great addition. If it's bad, it doesn't really matter. So, in my brain, Summertime Rendering ended last week. But we are here for the finale, the epilogue, so to speak, of Summertime Rendering. And I am very excited to see how this is gonna go. Right? I'm looking for this. Hey, everybody. I had to fix that because it's starting to grate on me. I don't like it. I don't like it whatsoever. But we're here. I will say, I was thinking about this. I said it last week. I feel like I said it 2 weeks ago. I said it 2 weeks ago. I said it last week. But if this episode is like the worst episode of anything ever created, it's not taking away from the previous 24 episodes and how I pretty much feel like this story that has been told is like a masterpiece. This episode could be like utter rubbish and it won't take away from it, right? Whatsoever. But I'm not worried. I didn't plug the headphones in. I'm not worried about that whatsoever. I feel like this episode's going to be a really good episode. It might be emotional. It might be the full gambit of everything. So let's not waste time. Let's get this going. Prepare for a big headache. I'm gonna get this in one go. Watch this. I'm gonna turn on my big brain. Turn on my big brain. Hey everybody. I didn't say hi to everybody. What's up? All right, let's pause this music. Let's do this. I'm gonna activate my big brain one last time for this series and get this in one go. All right, Summertime Rendering. The finale. We're going to get started in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I didn't. Okay, I was about to say. All right, we're back at the beginning. Who would have thunk that we would be back here? Wait, she sent him back with his memories? Oh, snap. I think I talked about this. We talked about this in Discord. I didn't record it. She did send him back with his memories. Because my main thing I said was, even if he knows, then what the hell? What do we do? Uh, I was just about to say that. Like, it feels like he's getting hit with deja vu. He's not understanding. She's wearing different clothes. Wait. Wait a second. I froze? What's going on? What happened? Thanks. It didn't undo it? Wait a second. Don't worry, guys. I'm still paying attention. Huh. Giving him a little spice. Nezu. Ah. Mom. Wait, they're not siblings. No. Tokyo. Think about how much you have to like someone for you to get a message on the 21st and then just be like, yeah, I'm going there the next day. And this situation, right? The subtitles for the kid. Little Shiori. Little Shiori. The festival, right? That's a poster for the festival. Interesting. Very interesting. What this just feels like life if there weren't any shadows. Like if we take the same timeline or world that we lived in of the original series, but removed the shadows, what would this look like? And it feels like this is exactly what it would be. So whatever Ushio did, ah, it wouldn't. And then they're from the same family line, so that's why they kind of look like the doctor, Doctor Higashida. He really does look like him. This is pretty cool. It's pretty cool. Hmm. Still don't trust him. What was he seeing? What did he see? It's crazy. I didn't take a notice that Shinpei has normal eyes. I wonder if anyone remembers anything, or is it just a bunch of deja vu for Shinpei and maybe Ushio? She's still trying to act mad. You know how lucky you have to be to find that? Cringe? Not really. Sorry if you think it is. Plot need him to find that. Like how she's lucky it didn't get swept away to sea. It's it's very interesting because these characters in our face right now during this episode, we really don't know them. We know versions of them, but these versions we really don't know. So like our Shinpei that we know and this Shinpei are very, I don't want to say very different, but they're different. I'd like to know what life has been like with him having his parents. I would really like to know that. I want to know her story too, because her story would be completely different. Like where is Ryunos? No, what is Ryunosuke's first name? We've only ever called Ryu. What's his first name? Ryunosuke. I thought no. Her writing name is Ryunosuke. My bad. My bad. My bad. My bad. I got confused for a second. Hey, what's up? Oh, bye bye. I know. Same voice actor, but whose child is this? Jesus, Ryunosuke. Oh wow, this is very different. This is very different. Huh. This feels good. Boy, oh boy. This is interesting, to say the least. Oh, look at Shinpei's dad. But uh that's interesting. He feels relieved, but he feels alone at the same time. He's still. So it's like I don't know if I'm too tense. This scene, as innocent as it may be, feels like it's building so much tension. Okay, recognizable faces. She's a fiend. She's a fiend. Who would have? I've never thought I would have seen her in this element. Never thought. Never thought. Summertime rendering. Oh my goodness, he better. He better get some sort of credit. Plot twist: summertime rendering is actually real. She did. I actually like that Shinpei still feels all the feelings that he was going through on each day throughout the events that we've seen. It's like he's like I don't feel good. I feel uneasy. It's like I feel uneasy, and it's like because the last time we made it to the 24th, last couple times we made it to the 24th, it was crazy. They're talking. They're not talking about their timeline. They were talking about what we saw, right? That's episode 10, if I'm not mistaken, right? I get it. I get it. I get it. Jesus. That's good. That's good. I get it. First time we've seen the 25th. I get it. I get it. I totally get it. Or I think I get it. I like that. Oh man, that was really good. That was really, really, really good. That was really good. That was really good. All right, so you can. What I was thinking. This is what I was thinking. Honestly, and this is where I need to rewatch. I think that whatever happened, I see. We don't know if if they continually looped until they broke it, or if I think what Ushio did is that in her final moments, Ushio was able to rewrite things. Like she's like what she was saying. I'm gonna spend the little last of what I got, right? The little last of what I got, and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna try to do something. We don't get to see what she does. My guess is I was thinking that she sets up the beginning, like what we see. She sets up the beginning. What's his face? The beginning of the series, all the events to happen, and we just keep looping in until we can break it, right? Because that's what it felt like. That's what it felt like. 1, 2, 24 already happened. 25 is the present time. It's just like I guess I can get that, but what we saw her go back and set up the events that we already saw, and then end us back where we were at the beginning of the episode again. So I don't know. Maybe was it a one-time loop? It couldn't have been. It would have to have been a time loop, because we saw her set up the beginning of the series. So that's why I feel like we could have been stuck in some time loop in whatever Ushio did. Eventually we found our way out. Right? Eventually found our way out. There's no telling. But my guess, right? My guess is this is what I was thinking, that I don't know. See, I don't know. It's how I'm interpreting this final fireworks scene. Right? How I'm interpreting this. Cuz they both sit there and they spit out a memory that wasn't from their lifetime, like this the canon of 2025. They didn't experience that. Versions of them did, but they didn't. So I don't know if we're just gonna keep repeating this phenomenon of remembering things from time to time. I think what would have been cool, what would have been cool, I don't know. I don't know. I had an idea. I started to think about it. It didn't make any sense. What I'm thinking is that, how could this have gone so that I can make sense of it? Right? Only real issue I have is that there had to have been a loop before episode 1 for episode 24 to make sense, which is never explained. I feel like the last episode kind of sets up the fact that it's been some sort of time loop. That's what in my brain I'm like, oh, we've been in a time loop this whole time. That's what it feels like. This we could be looping for an eternity until one of the runs goes a different way and that loop gets broken somehow, some way. And maybe the 25th day, July 25th, happens after we've broken said loop. There's no, like, we could repeat episodes 1 through 24 seemingly an infinite amount of times before we get to what is episode 25. I guess in previous loops, Ushio killed baby Heine, which was the wrong choice. But last time she killed the whale Heine. I like that, Andre. That makes sense, right? That makes total sense. That makes total sense. That's what I'm assuming too. I really like the confirmation by the author. I feel like for a moment like that, me personally watching the episode and seeing her mention the fact that I have a little bit of power left, I'm gonna do something, and she goes back and we go to all these pivotal moments that we all talked about throughout the whole series, like the message, this and that, and the eye, and all of this. So the fact that we even go back to those moments and we get to see her setting that up, I feel like that, and to me, I feel like that's confirmation enough that, oh, she's the one that did this originally. So that's what makes me feel like, okay, she's the one that did this. I feel like that establishes the fact that there is a loop. I feel like it'd be almost an insult to the reader if a narrator or a character has to mention that it's a time loop, with how with how the story's been told. I feel like it was done good enough to where you can be like, oh, this is a time loop. I feel like it was shown to us clear enough. I don't think we needed like someone to say like, boom, this is a time loop. Right, episode 3, when she saw Ushio at the festival, she was wearing a yukata. I don't know if it's an indication of a parallel or not. You know what? It could be. It could be. It really could be. It really could be. That's a really good point, Chuns. Wow. That's a really good point. Holy crap. That's a really good point. Was that not episode 4? It's episode 5, right? I thought it was episode 4. It is episode 4, isn't it? Yeah. I was right. Episode 3. Yeah, because the last shot ends with our obligatory booty shot. Dang it. No, it's not. You go back. Let me go back. Or no, I lied. Yes, it is. This one looks white though. The one, same flower, but the one, you know what? Episode 3. You guys tell me. So I'll do this. So let me bring this back. There's got to be a clear shot of her, right? I'll let it play a little bit. We might get the stream clapped. Like that looks pink to me, right? It's the same, it's similar flower, but Is it? It might be the same one. I feel like that's a great call. Chun's got that out the mud. Yeah. Chuns, you got that out the mud, bro. Maybe further back in 25? Possibly. That's, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the same. No, that's the same. That's 1,000% the same one. Yeah. That's the same. It makes sense too, because in episode 25's timeline, they're supposed to be going down to the beach. Yeah. Okay, Quartz. I couldn't. There was. Yeah. Damn, Chunks, that was a good pull. Sheesh, that was a great pull. It totally makes sense too, because they told them to go down to the beach. Everyone to go down to the beach while he stayed up, so that he can confess. So it would make sense that this Ushio would be making her way down to the beach, and then Shinpei, another timeline, would be following if it's like fragments from another timeline or something crazy like that. Wow. Wow. That's a great catch, man. That's a great catch. That's a great catch. I feel like that one thing, and that right there, I feel like it enhances it so much more for me. That enhances it so much for me. It just makes me feel like there's an infinite amount of possibilities. There's an infinite amount of possibilities in timelines that are out there, that are available. And it's just the person with that power, whoever is looking at it, decides that I feel like this is our answer. So regardless of time loops or anything else, because we do know the power that Heine possessed transcended time. It was outside of time itself. So, and I feel like this is the answer. I feel like trying to argue timelines doesn't make sense. You can argue that every single timeline happens at the same exact time because it's the same amount of time, just different events that are happening. So if you have this ability where you can go outside of time and you can view all throughout time, right? What if Ushio with her power took, like, she made everything happen so that she can, like what we were seeing, set everything up so that we could continue this line, continue that timeline that we saw, because it had to happen. But she took the power and she just pointed it in a direction that would be good for everyone, right? We all live, all this stuff, no shadow stuff, combined with what Andre says, where maybe in other timelines she killed the baby Heine and we get stuck in our loop, but because she killed the whale, like she killed the whale in that time, we don't have to worry about it. But if you kill the baby Heine, which is our Heine that we went through all of our events with, it would opt for something else. So I feel like combined with that, and combined with the fact that this power is what we've been fighting for, whoever has the power, whatever reality they look at, that it becomes reality. Whatever they look at becomes reality. That's why it was a fight between Heine and Shinpei, because they both shared the power. So because they both existed, we could just keep hopping back and forth. So now that there is no more conflict, we point the eyes in a direction, we delete the source, and we move on. So it's kind of like that. So where maybe throughout all timelines, there's a Shinpei and a Ushio, because they both held the power, have this bleeding deja vu between everything. And that's just how it is now. I can live with that. I can totally live with that. That makes sense in a weird way for me. Yeah, you can do so, like the whole thing with this, a story like this. You can do so much. You can do so much with this story, and it won't take away from this. Yeah, it won't take away from this story whatsoever. You can be like, this is the 75th timeline around the corner to the left. This happened there. It doesn't take away from our main story. Our main story still happens, but this happened in this timeline and things get wonky. This happened in that timeline and that gets wonky. So, but I feel like it all would eventually have to route to this. Yeah, it all clicks on even higher dimension once that observer decides what becomes reality. Yeah, that's what the whole fight was, because the power was so split between Shinpei and Ushio, essentially between Haine and Hiruko. The power was split, and Haine's power got shared with Ushio, therefore shared with Shinpei. So it's like 3 against our 2. Episode 12. 5. You've been on the hunt. You've been on the hunt. That's why you went silent. So it's like, that's why, with the whole observer thing, why we've been fighting. I gotta do this. That's why we've been fighting. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely. It makes so much sense. Putting everything in the context, putting it all in the context, it makes total sense. It does. Because Shinpei, is there some reason for that's her pen name, her writing name. She keeps herself anonymous, so she came up with a pen name to write her novels. As for what the meaning is behind using her pen name, that and in this timeline, we don't know that. We know what it meant in the other timeline, but it may not mean the same thing now. We do see it's a lot of that's a lot. I would like to learn about the history of the episode 25's timeline. Right? I this is a masterpiece of a show. It is. I like thinking about this, but it totally makes sense. She still might be the same kind of personality as she was when she was. I feel like every character is the same. Every character is the same. Because if you remove the shadows, no one really changes. I feel like the only individual that would really change is Shinpei, because both of his parents are alive. And he would have lived life not living with what is the Kofune family, and he would have lived with his own family. So he I feel like out of everybody, he'd be the most changed. But he even seems sort of maybe a little bit the same. Everybody else should be the same. Outside of like, it's just like we see Mio, I think, still feels the same way she feels about Shinpei. It's just like instead of Shinpei being living in her home and kind of being like her stepbrother in a way, or adoptive brother, I should say, instead of being that, Shinpei's just a boy that we know. And with Ushio, I feel like the relationship it didn't change. Outside of, and Nezu and Nezu wouldn't have gone through the trauma of seeing kids die in front of him. Like he wouldn't, Nezu wouldn't have that trauma, like that kind of trauma. One thing I want to do is So's mom alive? Because we know that she got sick. If there's no shadows, would the mother still get sick and would the mom die? So I want to go back and look through the episode again to see if we spot his mom somewhere in the background. Because if she's not there, I think she might have passed on by now. Because they said she died years ago. Okay, yeah, I think so too. And they just would have had to deal with the fact that she got sick. There wouldn't be any influence on Dr. Higashida working with the shadows trying to save his wife. Like that, that wouldn't have been a thing. That wouldn't have been a thing, so he wouldn't have had any false hope to latch onto. So they just would have went through the whole grieving process of slowly losing a parent if she would have gotten sick in the similar way. Yeah, it would have, like in that scene where they showed all the people, him, the priest, all that, showed them, it would have been like the perfect place to show her. So I feel like they would have gone through that grieving process, and that would have been years ago, because I remember him saying like, she died a while ago. She didn't just die, but because they were working with the shadows, he told Toki not to tell So it's like he had no idea. But they would have so that would have happened years ago, probably even before Shinpei left. The mom would have died, because I think she died more than 2 years ago. I want to say, I'm guessing she could have died a bit ago, or she could have died fairly, I want to say fairly recently. Yeah, I don't think I felt, as far as the new series go, I felt this way about Steins Gate, but I'm a decade late to Steins Gate. But I haven't felt this way about a new show in a long time. Yeah, because they talk about it as well during the side shadows cease to exist. So does the mom. Yeah, because she's a shadow. Because she was a shadow. So like whenever she would have died from her illness, she would have just died. I feel like if you talk your way through it, you might be able to figure out some things, but a lot of the little intricate details, no, I don't. There's a few things I'd like to know, like the pen name for Izuru. Why is it just because you love Ryunosuke? Like he's your twin, like you guys have that relationship that you would choose? You would choose that as your pen name? I can see that being something. I can see that working. Ryunosuke naming his daughter Haine. Why would you do that? Why choose it? Maybe it's just because it's relevant and important to the island, and they're from there. So I can see that definitely happening. That would make sense. I can talk myself into believing that. I can definitely talk myself into believing that Shideiko and Haine were able to maybe grow up. Granted, they had a large, I feel like that's an understatement, that their age difference was vast in my mind, but that was hundreds of years ago. We know how they got down back then, especially over there. We know how they got down back then. So I can definitely see like that vision that Haine had of like her being an adult with Shideiko becoming a possibility. We said the same thing. The 350. You know how they got down back then. So I can see that being a possibility of happening, and the whole family, because of the shadows and stuff, the families would have split because of Shideiko's wanting to become immortal and all that stuff. But that process still could happen, right? Yeah, it still happens today, so it's no shock. That process still could have happened, of the Higashidas and the Katakiris separating, which clearly happened. And this ancestor bears a resemblance to Shide. So that definitely happened, and we can assume that it happened with Haine. Like, Shide and Haine got together, they ended up splitting the family, and the Higashida stayed being, with medicine, and the Katake's moved into being priests, and they still could have worshipped Heine, and it just wouldn't have had no it wouldn't have had any supernatural what's the word I want to use? I'm thinking of a specific word. I can't spit it out. Like, it wouldn't have been brought on by anything that's supernatural. It just could have been like a natural phenomenon, like a lot of people end up finding religion in their life. So so that definitely could work. And if that happens, then I feel like that works. That definitely does work. Wonder why he took our name on though. I see that now that that could just be like super religious. He just decided to, maybe, or maybe I don't know. You could think of, feel like we could all come up with like 5 reasons why it could happen, and we could kind of like put them in a hat and pick, and I think it could work. She could be too embarrassed, like how she reacted to a fan knowing her actual identity. Yeah, no, I'm not saying, so what I'm saying, I'm not, her using a pen name is not out of the ordinary. The reason why she would have picked the pen name that she picked, I think like her using the pen name Ryunosuke, what's the full name of it for her pen name, was a big reason because of the events that happened 14 years ago with Ryunosuke's death, Ryunosuke's shadow being inside of her, Nagumo Ryunosuke. Yeah, I feel like that's a big reason why she picked that pen name. So what would be the inspiration for Hizuru picking Nagumo Ryunosuke without that event happening? Like, there isn't that trauma, that event. So I'm just thinking, like, why pick that name? Like, why pick it? Because I can see I could see Ryunosuke teasing her, like, oh, you use my name, right? Because Ryunosuke is her brother's name. You use my name as your pen name, aw, and tease her about it. That's something I would do. Like, that's something I would do. So it's like, what's the reasoning? Is it just because she loves her brother? Like, not just like, I completely understand her having a pen name, right? I completely understand her having a pen name. What's the reason, the meaning, like I'm missing a word, the sentimental reason why she would pick Nagumo Ryunosuke as her pen name? That's what I'm asking. Like, the reason Ryunosuke got used before is because her brother died. So I'm gonna use Ryunosuke. That's what I was assuming why she used Ryunosuke as her pen name before. So it's like, I'll use Ryunosuke because I love my brother. I don't think anyone, like, I love my brother, even though he's still rambling in here. Right? Even though he's still rambling in there, I love my brother. I'm gonna use my brother as a pen name. I believe she still remembers that timeline. I don't think she does, because she was grilling Shinpei about the details. Because when she was being a fiend and she's eating and she's at the computer, she was like, I was in a brain. She was like, she had writer's block, and Shinpei, like, talking to her. Shinpei's been telling her everything that he remembers, what we've been watching, episodes 1 through 24. That's what they were sitting at the restaurant talking about. So what I'm thinking is she's just like, da-da-da, like, that's why she's so interested in, it's like, boom, idea, book, and I'm a monster. So I don't know. I need to rewatch again to see if everyone is having deja vu, possibly, or if it's just isolated to Shinpei and Ushio. I think it's literally just for privacy. Nagumo Ryunosuke roughly means fluffy dragon cloud. No, I get that. I'm just talking about, because it's okay. So I'm meaning it in the way. I feel like I feel like you understand me, and we're both saying the same things but just differently. Everything, like, we saw episodes 1 through 24. We saw a lot of history, so we know a lot of the reasons behind why things were the way they were. Now that we are in episode 25 in this new timeline where there were no shadows and everything that we previously saw did not happen in episode 25's timeline. Like, some things are different, and it makes sense. I think you guys are reading too far into why she would have picked the name. No, I don't. That's not what I'm talking about. She's an author. She's gonna pick a pen name because it would be smart to be a female author and have a pen name. I feel like it's not coincidence that in the original series, episodes 1 through 24, that Hizuru had a twin brother named Ryunosuke that was murdered by shadows. And then she goes on to write a book about said shadows and uses the pen name Ryunosuke. Right? So it's like her pen name is Ryunosuke, the same name as her brother that she still can switch back and forth to time in her brain. But she definitely saw die. I don't think that's a coincidence. I think she used Ryunosuke's name as her pen name. Now, in episode 25's timeline, Ryunosuke isn't dead. All I'm asking is, what is the sentimental reason to pick Ryunosuke? Is it just random? Like, I feel like it can't be random. Like, oh, I picked Ryunosuke as my pen name when your brother is Ryunosuke. That's his name. That's not a coincidence, right? If I had a brother named James and I decided to write a series or do something, and I chose my pen name to be James, and I told him, like, hey, my pen name is James. And he's like, wait, your pen name is my name? Like, your pen name is my name? Why would you use your pen name as my name? So I feel like that's what I'm asking. Like her pen name is Ryunosuke, her brother's name. Is like, what is the sentimental reason in the new episode 25 timeline as to why she chose Ryunosuke? Like, at anything, she could have chose Ocean Master. Like, it could have been it could have been Nagumo Ocean Master. That could have been her pen name. But why did she choose Ryunosuke? That's all I'm asking. I'm just asking little details that are the same, but different events happen like prior. That's what I'm asking. I'm not arguing why if she should have a pen name. I'm just arguing how come, what is the reasoning behind that? Yeah, I feel like it wasn't just I love my brother, so I'm gonna use my brother's name as that. Or is it just like she's sitting there like, I need a pen name, I'm using your name, and he's just like, huh? And now her pen name is Ryunosuke. Is it something like that? I'm not arguing the fact of her having a pen name. I feel like it's whatever that she has a pen name. I just felt like during the original series, like, oh, her name, like a whole big thing of the series is finding out her real name, because she uses a pen name. If you know my real, that she tells him that, like, this is my real name. If you find me when you loop and you come back and you tell me this stuff, I'll believe you, because you know my real name. You know all this information, right? So it's like, it's clear, like, so it's like there's something that, like, there's things there. Like, there's things there. So it's like, if Ryunosuke, it's just, I feel like Ryunosuke definitely has to, for her in episodes 1 through 24, Ryunosuke, I feel like, was used because I literally watched my brother die. I loved him dear, even though I probably never said it like that. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna write this book, and I'm gonna use Ryunosuke as my pen name, because hell, I don't want nobody to know my real name. So now that none of that trauma exists anymore, why pick Ryunosuke? That's all I'm asking. That's it. That's all I'm asking. Right? That's it. That is all I'm asking. Why pick Ryunosuke? Why not pick soggy hot dog? Why not pick green grass, pink sky? Why Ryunosuke? The same. I'm just asking. That's what my whole thing was when I to preface this, I was like, I would like to know the history of episode 25's timeline, because we pretty much know the history of episodes 1 through 24's timeline. We know what happened 350 some odd years ago. All the important moments that have happened throughout history, we know it. We've seen Ryunosuke's death. We've seen Ushio's death. We've seen the shadows. We learned about the timelines. We learned about every single important thing. In episode 25, shadows don't exist. None of that stuff happened. So I'm just saying, what happened throughout history? Like, and so what happened whenever Haine runs back up and she's just like, a ghost said something to me. A ghost touched me. There's a dead whale on the beach. A ghost grabbed me and told me to run away. And I like, what happens in that moment? Do they like, get out of here, little girl. You ain't no ghost. It's just a beach whale. And then, matter of fact, that's probably what it is, because the whale still washes up on the shore. She runs back up there, right? The whale washes up on the shore, even though there's no shit. No, we deleted the whale. So matter of fact, Haine is probably running back up there like, there's a whale on the beach. Some ghost touched me. And she ran up and everybody runs back down to the beach. Ain't nothing there. They probably looking at her like, little girl, if you don't get out of here. So it's like, so I'm just like, so after that, what happens? Like, what's the history? Like, there's no weird shadow shenanigans stuff happen. I'm like, since they're Akata kitties, Haine and they definitely get together. So it's like, do they just get together and we stay together? Like, what happens? Like, Shinpei's parents doesn't die. Like, what has life been like for Shinpei not having his parents dead? How has that been? Like, what is his relationship between Ushio and Mio, since he's not like their adoptive brother and he's still just a friend? Right? Like, Hizuru, like, what prompted Hizuru to leave? She didn't leave because she needed to get away from the shadows. So what prompted her to leave? Like, why? What prompted Shinpei to leave? Why did Shinpei leave? None of the pressures that would have been on him about not having experience and all this stuff, that stuff wouldn't have been existent. It would have formed in a different way. What's that reason? I just want to know the history of this new timeline. That's it. Because I feel like the author did a spectacular job. Like, the author did a spectacular job in explaining almost everything to us. Almost everything to us in that in the timeline that we experienced. So I just, like, we're since we're in a completely new timeline, we know nothing. I'd just like to know something. That's pretty much it. It's just, I'd like to know something since I knew everything before. So it's just like, Shinpei left to a culinary school in Tokyo because he wanted to. Okay. So he still would have left because he wanted to, because he wanted to get away. Too many references and minor details in this episode. It's good for a rewatch. Could have been Shinpei that made 300 years ago. Haine and run to get the adults. I think that's what it. I definitely think that's what it was. How do you guys feel about shows where so many important things happen, character development, action, tears, deaths, and then time resets and nothing really happens? I don't mind it. I feel like this might be a little bit different because this is a time loop. We have to take our experience and then multiply it by like infinity, just because we didn't get to see it. But we finally eventually got to a point where we got our happy ending, and everything that we worked for wasn't for naught. I think that's what I like about it. Everything that we worked for in this show wasn't for nothing. Like, everything we went through, where we ended up at the end, like it was for a reason, and it was to get to this. So nothing is in vain. Everything that we went through wasn't for nothing, right? It wasn't for anything. So I'm glad with that. I am. right? I'm glad with that. It works for me. Hanya probably got traumatized so bad she became a devout shrine priestess and joined the shrine. That's how Hanya said it. Yeah, that probably works. Girls be tripping. Seems like they staged something about Shinpei pissing Ushio off, so he probably booked it so he didn't get killed. I feel like what we can use that is the same is the feeling that Ushio felt when Shinpei left originally from what we first saw. It's the same feelings, right? It's the same feelings. So how she felt angry of him leaving is valid, and I feel like we can apply it to episode 25 timeline. We can apply that, but everything post him getting here and her still being alive is uncharted water because she died before he came back. Right, she died before he came back, so we never would have got to see how she would have reacted to him if he did come back. But what's crazy enough is and what I like about it more is, even though we've rewritten episodes 1 through 24, those events are still having weight on this new timeline, because the events of that timeline made Ushio send the message to him, because all of the dread and everything that she was feeling throughout this that was happening, she felt, and it prompted her to send the message. The message isn't what brought Shinpei to the island. The feeling of everyone dying brought him to the island. And the message from Ushio helps. Like the message from Ushio, and then the fact that other timeline, he's been like kind of forced to come to the island because of her death and all of the anxiety that comes with everything that happens through episodes 1 through 24 is what makes him go. But then when he finally gets there, he's just like, why did I come again? Like, what was the reason for me coming? Like, I don't get it. I don't understand. I like it. It's the series still affecting this new timeline, even though things are better. But I feel like from this point on, we don't have to worry about that. I feel like it was probably the most intense during those 3 days, because we lived those 3 days so many times. 11, 12 times we lived those 3 days, those events. So I feel like moving forward, we don't have to worry about like the dread anymore, because we never experienced life past that point. Maybe that it would be interesting if a year from now Shinpei still feels the same way. But I feel like all those deja vu moments won't happen because it didn't happen before. Excuse me. Random questions. Did you see Steins Gate? I watched the original Madoka Magica. Yeah, give Madoka Magica a shot. I was totally not on board for episodes 1, 2, and 20. I'll say I wasn't on board with Madoka Magica for the first 2 episodes and then like 20 minutes of episode 3. Not on board. A friend told me to watch it. I was dropping it. I was like, when this episode ends, I'm done with this. And I got to the end of episode 3 and I'm like, you bought one more. And then that episode bought me another. And then it's just like, damn, I'm in for the long haul, aren't I? So I can definitely, you just give it a shot. Give it a shot, because you're going to watch that first episode and be like, I didn't sign up for this. I didn't sign up to watch a series like this. It's one of those. It's one of those where it's just like, I'm not watching this. I can see someone. I guarantee you a bunch of people watched the first episode and was like, hell no, and dropped it. Epitome of 3 episodes. epitome of it. Also, poor Ushio that Shide decided to enter world a day before her birthday. Right. And that's the thing about it. She died a few days before her birthday. That's terrible. She died a few days before her birthday, and he wanted to end the world a day before her birthday. That's crazy. Yeah, man, this is a good series. I could babble about this series forever. I really can. I really want to rewatch this series again. I really want to. I think through these Discord rewatches, I've watched the first, I want to say maybe the first 13 to 14 episodes, maybe 5 times each episode for the first 13. 5 times minimum. I know we've watched the first 2 or 3 or 4 episodes like 10 times. Like 10 times is not overselling it. Like 100%. Like 4 hours sitting in Discord talking about it. Like 4 and 5 hours one night talking about it. We're just rewatching episodes, just trying to figure out what the hell is going on. So I would love to rewatch this series again. This is going down as one of my favorite series, period. It is going down as one of my favorite series, period. And to think that I was so angry when Shinpei fumbled and got Ushio killed, if I wasn't reacting to the series, I could have checked out. That's how mad I was. Right? That's how mad I was. Like, I checked out. I was like, I would check out right now. I was pissed. I was fuming. And then the series proceeds to have like 3 back-to-back 10 out of 10 episodes, and completely just makes me feel like it redeemed that moment and had it explained perfectly. You didn't have to jump through mental gymnastics. It made sense. There wasn't like, huh? Like, it was just like, no, this happens, and then this happens, and then this is happening, and then it leads to this. And you're like, I get it because of the rules you set up in this show. And it executes it flawlessly to the point where it's just like, I don't even think about me being that mad a couple of episodes before. And then the last couple episodes just starts ramping up to like peak shonen quality. And it's just like, what is this show? Who are you? Who are you? How'd you write this so damn well? And then I should have talked about this earlier. I'm not a manga reader by any means. And I know there were a lot of manga fans. I'm not going to say that they were pissed off at the adaptation, but they definitely would make note of this chapter adapted 6 chapters or 7 chapters or 5 chapters or 4 chapters. And they skipped this and they skipped that. And I'm sitting here after 25 episodes, right? And this is where adaptations, not just copy and paste, adaptations done by someone that's competent is a good thing, because there is no room for anything. They trimmed everything that they could, in my honest opinion, to get these 25 episodes. And I'm sitting here proclaiming this as one of my favorite series, period. The story that it told, I completely understand it and made sense. I feel like I could have a conversation with someone that read the manga and we are not going to be lost. The manga reader might have a little bit more information that they can lean on in certain parts of the conversation. But we're having the same conversation back and forth, me and the manga reader. And how you read it and how it made you feel and how I watched it and it made me feel are both experiences that can come together and have a conversation. Adaptations matter. And for some series, for some things, a direct 1-to-1 remake of a source material would be boring as sin. To watch. In written format, you can have a lot of the in-between moments and you can show those because we're just reading it. Like, it's reading it. But if you're watching it, no, I don't want to see, like, if we had, just for example, say if we had like a tea drinking scene in episode 5, but there's a tea drinking scene in episode 11 and then another one in 17. And the ones in 11 and 17 really don't add anything. It's just there because this is what these characters do. We're going to show it to establish that these things happen in episode 7 or whatever. But do we need to see the tea drinking scene again if it's not going to lend itself to the story? The overall story's importance in 13 and 17, whatever ones I said. Do we need to see those again? No, it's just going to be another conversation of characters talking, and it's not any pertinent information that's going to push anything along. We don't need those. But we will get to that moment, and because of the circumstances in the manga and the source material, someone reading it might have loved that tea scene, right? They might have loved it just because of where it came. I'm like, we're all people like this. I feel that way too with certain things. But we watched that already. We don't need to watch that anymore. We don't need to see that again because visually it would get repetitive and you don't want to be repetitive. So we'll remove that. We can trim a little bit off that. Now we can finagle this some other way. Adaptation. It's not 1-to-1 because that scene did not happen in the anime. Just this hypothetical thing I'm talking about. But an adaptation, we still get the same through line told, and it still was made with care. This series, great adaptation. I haven't even read it. It's a great adaptation. I'm sitting here at the end of it, and I freaking loved what I watched. Makes total sense. So good. They outdid themselves with this. They really did. This was a great watch. It was a great watch. It's a great watch, man. Because they just want to see, because one scene in this one chapter they really loved and it won't get animated and it'll sour them. It's a lot of that, right? Adaptation shouldn't be 1-to-1, so change things for the better. So a lot of people would argue that because changing something would disrespect the source material. Oh, that's a big argument for some people. I feel that way too on some occasions, but only when it's warranted. I will say that. If a series is rearranging things and they're going to make it work for the better of adapting something, because some things just work better in print than it would in animation. If you change it this way, and this way, but still keep the through line, it'll work a little better. And so it's a lot of that. How something is structured in a manga won't work in a light novel, and how it's written in a light novel won't translate to the screen. So you have to rewrite it. That's why you just can't take a book and open a book up and then take what's on the book and slap it on the screen. It doesn't work. You have to take the book, read the book, adapt it into a screenplay so that it actually fits for something that can be told in movie format. And you need someone that actually understands how to adapt, how to write dialogue, how to make this work, and cares. They have to care, because anyone could sit down and take a source material, adapt it, and then just phone it in so they get that paycheck, slam it in their pocket, and go on about their business. Yeah, and it does, and it definitely depends on what was cut. So it's like if you cut something important, then yes, like people are gonna be pissed off. But if it's something that's like really small and insignificant to the story, like the greater story, like if we don't know that this happened, does it detract from the story and where we end up? No. All right, let's flirt with the idea of like not doing this. We can eliminate this chunk of something. Granted, the author came up with this. This is a part of those characters. But if we can get away with not showing this, we don't have to show it. So yeah, it definitely depends on what's cut. Like you don't want to cut. Like, can you imagine if they would have cut out the explanation for how Ushio was able to come back after she died? Can you imagine if they just decided to trim some of that up? The ending of this series would feel so insignificant and so much like garbage that I wouldn't be sitting here like this if they cut something like that. Like if they really didn't adapt this whole part of the series the right way, this would be horrendous, right? It would be absolutely horrendous. Tokyo Ghoul, yeah, it's Tokyo Ghoul's the perfect example because for the first season they cut an entire arc. But it's just like with Tokyo Ghoul, it's like we're not giving you 24 episodes, you're getting 12. 12 or 13, however many episodes that first season was. You're getting 12 or 13 episodes for your first season. All right, so you start looking at the source material and you're like, well, where's a good place to end? And when you start reading, it's just like, all right, I don't know where you would end. I feel like this part right here would be the perfect part. The Kaneki and Jason stuff. That'd be the perfect place to end. And you're like, that's 70 chapters, about, give or take, it's 70 chapters. How do you adapt that? It's just like, then you start reading, it's just like, well, you need this because this establishes that, and that establishes this, and this establishes that. Well, we need it all. We have to get rid of something. So you start looking and you look at the slow arc. Well, Kaneki goes here and he does this. We don't need this, but we have to get to this. So maybe we'll show a little bit of that and fill it in. We'll make it work. And that's what they did. And if you're just watching it and you shut your brain off, it doesn't like trigger you. Like you're not like, wait, that feels weird. But if you're paying attention, it goes from the Tsukiyama stuff, and then it's just like bang, bad guys, boom, take me, bam. And then it's just like, wait, what happened? Whole arc. It's just the whole ending of the first season of Tokyo Ghoul is like all these characters, like these random people are like, yeah, we're using these as collateral against you. And it's just like, who is that person? I don't know who that is. I actually have never seen that person in my life. And you would be right, because that person never existed in the series up until that point. They're a part of that cut arc that got cut to make time. They're a part of that cut arc that like if you had that arc animated, that moment towards the torture stuff with Kaneki and Jason makes sense. It hits more. But because it's not there, it's just random people. And you're like, well, why the hell? Because I remember watching it, being an anime only, watching it like, well, why the hell would I care if you do this to this person? Why the hell would I care? But then I read and I'm like, oh, I should care. These were cool people. These were nice people. These were really nice people. So yeah, it's just like adaptations. It's a lot of like committee stuff. It's a lot of does the person care? Appreciate you. Right? Like do they care? Do they have enough time? Do they have enough money? Promised Neverland is something that I feel like I don't even know how to explain that, and I'm not going to spend the time to explain it, because you have one of the strongest first seasons. But it's just so much. It's just so much with that series, because The manga was getting dragged by people. It was just terrible all the way around, and you don't know what happened to force that situation to happen the way it did, but it happened. And I don't know if Promised Neverland is popular enough to warrant a Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. There's not that many series that get that option to come back again and get a second chance at getting an adaptation. Very few series have done it. So it's like, I don't know if Promised Neverland would ever get it. Promised Neverland deserves to have it. I don't know if they'll ever get that. It's just like, man, I don't know. What did you just say? Rurouni Kenshin reboot. Rurouni Kenshin is one of my favorite series ever. What are you talking about, Rurouni Kenshin reboot? What are you... Rurouni Kenshin receives new trailer and release date. Hell, I did not know. This is it? Dog, I had no idea. Golly. What? Holy crap. It gives me Joran vibes. Like, it gives me the same art style similar to Joran. A lot of people didn't watch Joran. We watched Joran on the channel. I like Joran. It gives me the same vibes as that art style. I feel like it looks like the older, we're not gonna, one thing that it's tough to do for majority my generation. My generation that grew up as 90s babies. It's hard to let go of the art style of the 90s. It's just hard to let go of it because it's hand drawn. Like, it's hand drawn. You can look at something hand drawn. I feel like you can look at something that's actually hand drawn on paper, not digital, and see the difference. That's what we grew up on. That's what we like. So anytime we see anything that we know was originally in this style get done a different way, it doesn't make sense. It just does. It'll always be off, right? Dragon Ball Super will never look like Dragon Ball Z, not because they won't give the money to actually animate it the right way, is because it's digital. Like it's gonna, like you're gonna see Yu Takahashi's artwork, right? Right, you're gonna see that and you're gonna recognize it, but it's not gonna hit the same way because it's not hand drawn. The hand drawn aesthetic just works. It just does. So I feel like it looks the same. It's just digital and it's not drawn on paper. It looks the same. It does. I'm just glad they chose this art style and not the art style of the other version of Kenshin with the realistic art style. I don't like that art style, and I don't like the stories that art style gave me. So I'm glad they chose this art style. I can't wait for this. Jesus, I had no idea that this was happening. I literally had no idea that this was happening. Wow. But the whole thing is, I'm gonna cry. Nah, I'm gonna cry. I'm not doing that right now. I just started thinking, I'm gonna cry. All right, so I'm wrapping this up. Thank you guys. I don't know if I'll be able to do a Discord stream. I have to go to the store. I will legit like start getting emotional. No way. Kenshin is legit. It's one of my favorite series, period. Kenshin's ending is one of my favorite endings for anything that I read. The anime's ending will forever be like utter rubbish. I don't like it. I don't like the filler arc that it gave us. Like I don't. It's just like what's happening. I remember feeling that way as a kid. Like I didn't understand what's happening. Like he's blind now. Christians, what's happening? And I'm a Christian, but I'm like what? Like I was really confused, and outside of an OVA, I want to see the ending of Kenshin done the right way so much, so badly. And if it's really getting remade, and if it's really gonna follow the story of the manga, one, it's gonna be so hard to top any of the Shishio stuff that was done in '96. They're gonna have to throw money at that. They're gonna have to throw money at that. But we're talking about getting to some of the best parts of Kenshin. To me, like the Shishio stuff is top tier, but that arc after Shishio, I'm telling you. Thought Shishio's arc was dark. Actually getting into the bottle. All right. Thank you guys. Summertime rendering. This is 10 out of 10. I have to run to the store, so I don't know if I'll be able to. I'm gonna get chewed out anyways. But I gotta run to the store, so I'll go run to the store really quick. And if I can make it back in time, I'll definitely come back and do that. I'll definitely come back and do the Discord stream. No one might not be around, but I'll do it. I'll definitely do it. But I appreciate you guys. This show was for me. I'm not speaking out, just for me. This is a masterpiece. Still a 9.5 out of 10 because of Shinpei in episode 18. It's still a 9.5 out of 10 because of this. Because of Shinpei getting her killed. It would still be a 9.5. If that didn't happen, it's a 10 out of 10. But it's still a 9.5. This ending, I really love this ending. I really do. Really love the ending. The ending is so thought-provoking. And we definitely mentioned this. I was like, if this series were to end, I'm never gonna let it go. I'm not gonna let this L go. But if this series, I remember saying, like, if it ends open-ended and we don't get a definitive answer, 1000%, I would still love it. And even though it's not as open as I was thinking, right? It's not as open as I was thinking, but my goodness, it made us think. It made us think. And like, this is I feel like I'm recommending this to anyone. Like, I would love to see this be someone's first anime. I'm not lying to you. I would love for this to be someone's first anime. Like, I want to introduce anime to you. It's a little bit out there. Now, this isn't for everyone. Like, I'm not going to take a girl that doesn't watch anything and then give her this. She's not going to like it probably. But if it's someone that's open and willing to take on anime and actually try to watch it, I'd be like, take this. Let me know what you think about it. A girl. They're bane of my existence recently, Chuns. Bane of my existence. But a lot of the females that I've dealt with in the past are not fans of anime. And I would not give them this series as their first anime. I would not. I would give them something else. Not this. I would not give them this. But yeah, I feel like I have a few people in mind when I'm like, watch this. I feel like you'd like it. Give them Rent a Girlfriend so I can lose them forever. Give them X-Arm. You just want me to get hit. Give them Spy Family. Spy Family is a good one. You're not wrong. Spy Family is a good one. Give them redo. All right, I'm leaving. Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys. This instant classic. Instant classic. Yeah, ReZero's still going on. Tokyo Revengers just pisses me off outrightly. I appreciate you guys. You guys made this not super duper emotional. Usually I get really emotional at the end of series, especially ones that I really love. And you guys kept me from that. You kept me from that. So I really do appreciate you guys, but definitely I'm giving this the paragraph, right? I'm giving you the paragraph in the comments. So appreciate you. Thank you, Summertime Rendering. Thank you, Summertime Rendering. Here's to Disney Plus putting the damn show on Disney Plus so that we can share it with other people. Damn it. Come on. I want to share it. Get it up there. The show's over now. The show is over. If we get an announcement that it's coming out on Disney Plus in the next week or two, I promise you I'll make a video and be pissed. I promise you I'll make a video and be pissed. I promise you. But if they decide to give Summertime Rendering the red carpet and to put it on commercials and do all this stuff, it would have sucked for us that wanted to watch it week to week. Right? It would suck for us week to week wanting to watch it. But if they put the machine in the back of Summertime Rendering and inject it into the veins of all the non-anime people, and this does become a lot of people's first anime, and then it becomes one of the greatest anime ever, what do we do then? What do we do then? And I still don't even know if it's confirmed that Disney got the rights to Bleach. We still don't know if that's never been officially announced. That's a rumor. So it's like, we don't even know if that's a thing. It probably is the deal, but I don't think it's been officially announced. I was trying to look for it and I couldn't find an official announcement at all. So it's like, there hasn't been anything officially linking Disney Plus to Bleach outside of the United States, right? Like outside of for Summertime Rendering, there's been a lot of official announcements for Asian territories everywhere else, but not for us because it's not officially come to us yet. But it's been officially announced all over there. Nothing has ever been said publicly about Disney Plus and Bleach ever being connected. Someone on Twitter said it, and then everybody ran with it because this person's reputable. So it probably is the deal, especially with this whole Crunchyroll thing happening, with Bleach getting taken down from Crunchyroll. It would make sense if Disney had acquired the rights to stream it, right? It would make sense that another company got the rights to this thing. But we don't know if it's Disney Plus. It probably is Disney Plus, but we don't know, right? We don't know. So, and it's difficult because we're 10 days away and we have no information. Only thing that we know is Viz keeps telling us that Bleach will be simulcasted. Simulcasted means it's simulcasted through the world. Like that's what they said. The Viz they keep saying is it'll be simulcasted October 10th. It'll be simulcasted October 10th, but they're not giving us any information. Where do we go to watch it? Like, where do we go? Like, it's definitely not on Crunchyroll. So do we go directly to UViz? Are we going to Disney Plus? Are we going over here? Are we going to go over there? I can see it being Disney Plus or Hulu. So it's just like, we still don't even know what Summertime Rendering. We know Summertime Rendering has its own section on Disney Plus. We do know that. It's just not available or worldwide. Only in Asian territories that's available. So here's to hoping Disney puts the battery in the back of Summertime Rendering and sends it to the moon. And it does become a lot of people's first anime. So thank you guys. I appreciate you. Have a good one again. The fall is going to be extremely busy for us. So my personal life is about to go into the stratosphere. So work is going to get crazy. Extracurricular stuff is going to get crazy. And the channel as well. I don't know how I'm going to balance it, but we're going to make it work. Tomorrow we will be here for Spy Family. Sunday we will be here for Housing Complex C and Gundam. So if you're interested in any of those shows, we will be here Sunday watching those. And then we're going into full gear. Whenever Chainsaw Man's dropping, that's when we're doing Chainsaw Man and a few of the other shows that are coming out. So we're hitting the ground full steam ahead. So hop on if you guys are interested. But if not, I appreciate you guys for sticking with me, watching Summertime Rendering. Masterpiece. What can I say? 9.5 out of 10. So thank you guys. I appreciate you. And I'll see you. Peace out.